Hello there, the unknown guy welcomes you. The rise of India. Let's consider the reasons why India is rising. First, economically. India is on track to be the world's third largest economy within a decade, and the world's second largest by the middle of this century. In April 2023, India overtook China to be the world's most populous nation, and it is a young population with a favorable age dependency ratio. India is already the world's third largest military spender, behind the US and China. It is the world's second largest importer of arms, with the government now shifting to buying equipment made in India. Of course, India is also a nuclear power. It is worth noting too that tension between the US, West and China is leading to increased engagement with India. Businesses, especially manufacturers, are investing in India rather than expanding China, and governments, especially the US, are seeking to ally with India as a regional counterweight to China. All these factors and more are creating tailwinds for India. What is needed to sustain its rise? While there are so many positives, India remains a developing country with socio-economic challenges. The government has a target and plan to be a developed nation by 2047. Between now and then, what might need to be addressed? I'd suggest 3 areas: poverty and inequality. According to UN data, 415 million Indians have risen out of poverty in the last 15 years. However, this remains a work in progress. Based on 2020 population data, India has 228.9 million people categorized as poor. In terms of inequality, World Economics Inequality Index gives India a score of 21.9 out of 100. As comparisons, China scored 54.6 and the UK 78.3. Slovakia was top with 100, creating enough jobs. With a rising population and unemployment in 2023 averaging around 7%, or 88 million people, the economy needs to keep growing quickly to create jobs for the young population. And India is also vulnerable to the impact of climate change, whether that is rising sea levels, flooding coastal areas, shortages of fresh water, or crop failure. How might India use its superpower? In 2023, India's presidency of the G20 and wider diplomatic activities provided important insights into how India might use its geopolitical influence. In his speech at the UN General Assembly in September, Foreign Minister Jaishankar said, "From an era of non-aligned, we have evolved Vishwa Mitra, friend of the world." India will engage with a broad range of nations and, where necessary, harmonize interests. The goal we have set ourselves will make us different from all those whose rise preceded ours. This approach has been seen in action, as India has partnered with developed nations, for example, in the QUAD security partnership with the US, Australia, and Japan. Its FDA negotiations with Australia, the UAE, the EU and the UK, and in the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor announced at the G20, and developing nations, for example, securing the African Union a permanent place in the G20, initiating bilateral development partnerships with 78 countries, hosting a Voice of the Global South Summit for 125 countries at the start of its G20 presidency, and also at the G20, initiating partnerships on digital public infrastructure to support achievement. India, as can be seen from these examples, is positioning itself with major developed economies as a partner and influencer, and as a partner and champion. The SDGs and improving livelihoods featured strongly in Mr. Modi's addresses at the G20 summit in September, where he told other leaders that he has continuously drawn attention to a human-centric vision rather than a GDP-centric approach. Earlier, at the B20 summit in August, attended by business leaders from across the world, Mr. Modi made a plea to businesses to consider the contribution they are making to society. A profitable market can be sustained when there is a balance in the interests of producers and consumers. This also applies to nations. Treating other countries only as a market will never work. It will harm even the producing countries sooner or later. Making everyone equal partners in progress is the way forward. Before looking to the future, it's worth noting where the UK-India relationship is now. In the 18 years I have been working on this relationship, it is as strong as I can remember, and there is a framework and plan for collaboration. A comprehensive UK-India strategic partnership, accompanied by a 2030 roadmap, signed by PMs Modi and Johnson in May 2021. These documents have active work streams on trade and investment, climate action, education, health, defense and security, and the people-to-people connect, the living bridge between both countries. India and the UK will hold general elections this year. Once the dust has settled, I think it is important that the two governments refresh and extend the existing roadmap, identifying how the UK can support and benefit from India's rise on its journey to being a developed country by 2047. This roadmap should look towards 2047, when India will be a developed nation with a £30 trillion economy, a GDP per capita of $20,000 and the world's largest working age population. With a median, such a roadmap would demonstrate continuity, fresh ambition, and renewed commitment. A commitment to partnering on shared priorities and to being partners in India's economic, political and social development. That's it for this video. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to The Unknown Guy for more interesting videos.